Okay, so we're ready.
Okie dokie.
Love music and love life. You know that's the sound that ushers us into Office Journal every Tuesday from 11 till 11:50 right here on the station that loves music and loves life. It's a pleasure to be with you always. Thank you for joining us and thank you for being a part of the Smooth family. My name is Oluwaseun, and that is Dave Cars with my signature tune for Office Journal. That is Together Again. So every Tuesday, we talk about you, we talk about your development, we talk about knowledge, we talk about education and things that can prop you up in life so that you have more money in your pockets and on your table and better quality of life as well. And that's what we have Office Journal for. So from business to money to leadership to your career path and growth, as well as your retirement, we cover everything and anything. We don't even leave out the etiquette. So we talk about communication, we talk about etiquettes in the workspace as well as the relationship. On a day like this, that's 8th of October 2024, we'll be talking about leadership in the workplace because the word has been thrown around many times, but it looks like people are still falling short of the required knowledge of leaders, what makes a great leader in the workplace. So we need to again have that conversation and hope that at least one person will take the information, the education, and translate it into action and become a better leader in the workplace. And by extension, just rub it off on everyone. We seem to have bosses, we have managers, but do we have great leaders? How many great leaders do we have? What makes a great leader? And how can you transform into a great leader? All of that and more you'd be getting information on as I have my guest on. And I'm glad to have her company because it's the second time I believe that she's been with me. She's
Yeah.
someone who helps business owners to build empowered teams, and she's very passionate about building teams, systems, things that processes that keeps your business and your organization running. She's about teamwork and the good stuff spirits. And I remember the last time we talked about team bonding
Yes, so
and the activity that can get everything sticking together in the workplace. So she is a consultant, she's a coach, she's an entrepreneur, she's a strategic teacher, and she is an HR and business consultant. And I'm referring to the managing consultant at Icensville Consult. That is Mrs. Bamike Fadipe. Good morning.
good morning. Good morning, Oluwaseun. Thank you so much. And good day, listeners. It's such a pleasure to be here again.
Thank
And
you.
thank you for the opportunity.
It's a pleasure to always have your presence. So, I am itching to get into this conversation because,
Yeah.
like I mentioned, it's something that we oftentimes hear around and see around. We talk about, oh, yeah, we should be great leaders. We should have more leaders.
Mm,
And,
mm,
but then what exactly does leadership in the workplace entails? How is a leader different from a boss? So when we're
mm.
talking about leadership in the workplace, what would you give us an overview, what it entails?
Okay, let me start by, first of all, thank you again for this opportunity. And leadership is a fundamental of business building. And this is something that I'm so passionate about. Because at the end of the day, everything starts and falls on leadership, right? And the art of every thriving business is leadership. If the leadership does not get it right, it's going to affect every other thing that we want to talk about. And especially in this our climate, there's so much change, so much happening around us, so much happening to us. And in the midst of that, for businesses to survive, if you're not able to manage and keep everything together, you can't be pressured with other resources and also be pressured with people, because you can be pressured with people when you don't manage them well. And there
Hmm.
is no way you can manage, even if you are the founder of the business, you cannot run that business alone. It's not possible. What you need from other people is more than what you can give them. And that's the honest truth. And that's the fundamental that every leader must embrace and every leader must face. So for us to be able to unlock the growth, that every business needs, the resilience and the success that we want to have, and especially even the people's success, because at the end of the day, what we call growth for the organization is the cumulative of the individual's growth. It's when each and every one staff or employee of an organization is when they perform that we put all the performance together and we call it organizational growth. So at the end of the day, it's leadership it's everything and more.
Hmm. But you'll agree with me that not everybody understands this, or maybe I should say agree with this, going by the
Mm.
quality of the leadership that we have in the workplace. So now, still getting to understand leadership in the workplace. How is a leader different from a manager? So, because we have people in the workplace, we have people who are responsible for one thing or the other, coordination of a team or the other. So, if in terms of what needs to get the work done and maybe increase productivity, what would you classify as the mentality of a leader and the mentality of a manager or a boss or just someone who coordinates the team?
Okay. Coordinating a team will make you a supervisor. I mean, you're coordinating their activities and their operations, and it's great. It's great. It means that what you're focused on is the activities, right? But a leader is much more than that. And let me share this quote by John C. Maxwell. I mean, John C. Maxwell is a thought leader in the leadership space and is somebody globally, somebody I respect personally. I eat his books because that's one of the things that has formed me and formed my perspectives. He says a leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. So, as a team lead or as a leader, it's not just telling the people, giving them instructions. So, we have this task to do, let's do this, let's get cracking. It's beyond that. It is essentially inspiring them enough with a compelling vision. See, if you don't connect, I think I mentioned this, when we talked about team building,
Yeah.
right? If you don't get people to connect to the big vision that you have, you're going to struggle with having results from them because it's going to be business as usual, right? They will just do whatever they are supposed to do, like robots. In fact, they will do exactly what robots should be doing. They will follow the instructions. But when you have people who connect with the vision, who have been inspired enough by the vision and they bought into it, they have a sense of ownership with it. At that point, you have become a leader because you are making people to buy into a vision that you have or that you're sharing with them. You're influencing them, you're inspiring them, they are connecting with the vision, and they're not just listening to your instruction to say, oh, tell us what to do. No, they are listening to what you want to achieve and they are also contributing to what you want to achieve. It then becomes our, it becomes a collective vision, not just the vision of the leader. And any human being who can achieve that, I don't care what level they are, whether they're the CEO or the youngest person in the organization, anyone who can achieve driving the vision of an organization and inspiring every other person to connect with that vision, to buy into it, to own it, and to run with it is a leader.
Now, let me speak for a number of people who are listening and maybe have not had the chance to type in their question. And they're thinking, so how then can a person inspire others and get them to buy into the vision?
Hmm. First of all, it's not just by thinking about it. It takes a level of learning, unlearning, relearning. It's a journey and nobody ends it. That's the honest truth. And the first point of the journey is you understanding yourself, self awareness, self discovery. You want to know yourself, you want to understand yourself, you want to understand what you want to achieve, where you want to go, and who you want to go with, right? And by the time you are also advancing, you want to understand people. You want to have an understanding of others. And of course, emotional intelligence, maturity, adaptability, flexibility will always come into the equation because it's not just about you. It's not just you being in the center of, I mean, the center of all the conversation, all the tasks, all the activities. No, it's actually about others. It's the point where you get to when you learn that life is not about me. That's when you start to lead. When you get to focus on every other person around you, to focus on what are their strengths, what are they good at, and you are invested in helping them to become the best version of themselves, that's where leadership starts. And like I said, leadership has no age limit, has no gender limit. It has nothing. It's just an individual who is self-aware enough, who is self-conscious enough to know that I need to go outside me to others, to bring in others, to help in others, and to help them to become the best version of them. And of course, if you bring that in the context of the workplace, what we're looking at are human beings who are who are empathetic, who are inspiring, and who have also invested in themselves to work in themselves, to build themselves up to the point where they have something to give others. Because fundamentally, you cannot give what you don't have, including even the emotional maturity. If you don't have it, you can't give it.
Hmm. Getting even interesting and still circling around that question, I'm trying to paint a practical scenario of
Okay.
getting people to buy into the vision. And I'm starting to think if it's something that starts with the recruitment process or when you already hire people into your company, you can get them to believe. So for instance, I have the vision of what's the word? No, what kind of thing? Let's say I have the vision of selling to every 10-year-old and
Mm,
making every 10-year-old buy my product. Now, in getting them to, because I think I'll get the best out of my business if I'm able to get everybody to have the same passion, the same level of energy and enthusiasm that I have. So,
mm,
will I start to check if these ones will buy into the vision at the recruitment process stage, or when they get in, I feel okay. You look like you have some skills, maybe some sales skills, some relationship skills, and whatnot. And when they
mm,
come in, I can then start to show them I care about your growth and then
mm.
see them as a person and then get them to buy into my vision? Or how do I practically convert them, maybe for the lack of a better word, to be my disciple and to be able to carry on my vision?
Okay. First of all, like you mentioned, it actually starts from the recruitment point. From the point that you're getting people into the organization, you want to be sure that these are connect with the vision of the organization, right? You want to be sure that their personality, who they are, you want to check for the values they have. You want to check for their, aside from the skills, the experience, and whatnot, you also want to see their personal values to see if it aligns with the values of the organization. Because fundamentally, leadership rests on these strong values. It rests on the strong values that is important to you know, to each organization as we have it. There are organizations who are very particular about integrity. It means that what they're looking for will be employees who are upright in the things they do, who are ethical and professional. So from the moment that you're recruiting, those are the soft side you want to look at, aside from the experience that the individuals will have. You also want to check that out. And you also want to check their energy level to see, okay, this person for this particular role in this organization, because it's also a function of the roles, right? You want to check their energy level. Okay, this person, if this person is to man our customer service, hope this person won't depress our customers. And by the way, it's customer service week.
Yeah.
On Okay, so you want to be sure that anybody you're putting in such a position, even if they have the skills, they have the values, you also want to be sure that they have the energy to match up with the requirements of that role and, of course, the values of the organization. So it's a function of from the recruitment, there are things you are spotting. There are things you're looking out for based on the requirements of the role and based on the value system of the organization. There's something called culture fit, right? You want to be sure that this person's cultural orientation and tendencies will match the culture that the organization already has. You don't want to bring somebody whose orientation will be totally different from how the organization is and what the organization stands for, and then there may be a disaster. So culture fit, in fact, in some organizations, there is a stage of interview that they are watching out for culture fit. It's nothing on skills, nothing on what you've done. It's just to check who you are, your mindset, your heart set, your orientation to many life views.
Thank you. In case you're joining us for the first time, we are discussing the topic of leadership in the workplace. And I believe there are many levels to the leadership. There are people who come into the office or into the workplace working for money, and somehow they start to rise through the ranks. And I'm thinking, how do you make a leader out of that? Because sometimes you, the visionary, you, the founder, you know what it is that you want. And then, yes, you get some people who are committed, but maybe their commitment is only as much or as high as the money that you're paying them. So how do you make sure they stay loyal to that? Especially maybe there will be times where there has to be a level of sacrifice for the sake of the ones that are underneath. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to get at. So
Okay,
how do
please, can
you
you take that again? You're talking about how to
so
inspire them enough not to be bothered about money. Is that what you're saying?
I have lumped up three things into one. I'll separate it. One,
Okay.
how do you get people during these times to stay motivated to your work?
Hmm. Hmm. That's a $1 million question that I get. I'm asked practically every time, right? We all know that in this season that we're in, even the businesses are going through a lot. A lot of organizations they are cutting costs, they are managing so that they can sustain the business and they can keep, the business afloat. And eventually, I mean, hopefully, we all go through this season and all the businesses will thrive and do well. So it's obvious that money may no longer be a motivating factor because even many organizations are cutting their pecks, based on the cost cutting policies that they are faced with. The economy has become very intense. We're all faced with that. But guess what? We will continue to be in business. And in that business, we will continue to need people to drive the business. So, how do we then connect with people without, of course, I cannot say without money because you have to pay your staff and there will be financial needs. But how do you get them motivated such that they are not so focused on the financial part? So we want to look into what are the non-financial ways to motivate, to inspire, and to engage employees in an organization. The fundamental thing is to show them that you care, whatever that care means, including welfare, their well-being. There may be days where you just, let everybody come together. How are you guys coping? How are you doing? What strategies are you doing to go through this time and to still, remain sane? You also want to focus because there's a lot happening in the workplaces. You don't want to know. A lot of people are having, because of the pressure, family pressure, financial pressure, albeit the organization may not be able to meet all the needs. So it's important that the leaders of such, businesses come to the point where you gather your team occasionally to just let them know, what can we do for you? How can we help? There may be other things you can do to support, the teams, the individuals, and even as a team collectively. If the organization can, for those who commute, and have to commute from one place to the other, if the organization can buffer transportation, because that
Mm.
seems to be a major cost right now, that would be a good way to look at it. You can look at aspects of life, that are largely impacted by this. I know organizations who give foodstuff to their team members. I know organizations who decided to do, buses or some form of transportation, even group transportation with their teams across the teams. The HR will just help people. Oh, if you're living in this area, they connect people together. Those are practical, low level ways to even do this, right? There is also the part of bringing them together to incentivize reward. Incentivize performance more than ever before. This is the season when people when if they've done great jobs, give them, reward them. Because that great job has come into the organization as a gain, whether you like it or not. When they've done something that is outstanding and that has brought a level of gain to the organization, reward that effort and let it count. Make a noise about it. Appreciate them. Let them know that they are valued, right? And
Mm.
if there are other ways, some other organizations have embraced cooperatives, to help people through this time. They've introduced cooperatives into the system of the organization such that at least people can get to do things, with some form of contribution, by themselves, amongst themselves. Because this works better in larger groups, in bigger organizations with a larger staff size. You get, but those are practical ways that organization can explore. Also, you may want to consider, let's get a finance or economist to come and talk to people on how to manage themselves in times like this. See, there are many ways, and these ideas, these suggestions are not cast in stone. There are different ways that we can communicate to people that we care about them, we care about what they are going through, and we care about what is happening to them. Even if we're not able, and also I know that for businesses who are transparent, who the staff, they know what the cost is, what the overhead is like, they know what the revenue is like, and they are seeing the difference. And they are, it's transparency at a level. It helps the members of staff to know that, oh, we need to make money. We're not making. In fact, I was with a team sometimes this week, and they were last week, and they were talking about how to, is the staff, not the CEO, talking about how do we increase sales for the organization, because
Mm.
they see what has not come in and they see what has the potential to come in. And they're the ones by themselves, coming up with strategies to drive this. Now, if they don't have this data, because in some, especially SMEs, if all this data of monies that we are making, in that sense, if it's hidden from them, they won't know what's happening. And they may not even connect at that level to, they may not be bothered about it because they don't know. Do you get? So I believe that transparency also will help, and consistent engagement to discuss issues within the organization, to discuss what we're doing right, what we need to do, what we need to achieve, the big area and audacious goal that the organization has, whatever it is, should consistently and constantly be discussed, and throw up ideas from the teams. Let them come up with, okay, in this current situation, what can we do differently? How can we achieve this goal? And let people come up with ideas and let them drive the ideas. Because there are different situations where people come up with ideas and maybe the bosses just keep mum. No comment, no response, no acknowledgement.
Mm.
When they come up with such ideas, yes, filter it. The ones that could work, You could even task them with the responsibility of driving it, right? Those are the areas that will, help individuals in the organization to have a sense of belonging and a sense of ownership to whatever dream or whatever goal the organization has. I hope I've succeeded in answering your question with many explanations.
Oh, yes. I have been convinced and not confused on the steps to take in keeping motivated during those times. Very lucid. Thank you so much. Now, if you're listening and you'd like to call out your HR manager or your boss, talk to me. No, I'm kidding. Of course not. If you have any questions and you have any contributions, if there is anything you'd like to say or clarify, WhatsApp line is open, and that will be 0809 444 0981. Again,
Mm.
0809 444 0981. While the call line is 0201 448 9981. That's the number to dial. And we're live on YouTube as well. So you can go there, stream, drop your comments, and share with your HR manager or your boss. That's at Smooth 91 FM Lagos. That is the handle you're searching for on YouTube. Now, while you were explaining in details, it was so beautiful, and I felt like being an employee of such a forward-thinking leader. The other aspect is HR manager is a human. The owner of the
Mm.
business is a human. The leader is a
Mm.
human. So how do we keep it balanced? How also does the leader himself stay motivated and energized during these times?
Hmm. That's a tough call. And it's affecting everybody. Honestly, it's this is I mean, I always say that there are two sides to these conversations about expectations of our leaders, right? When some of us are privileged to be in the leadership position, the truth is we also have people that are leaders above us too. We also have people we look up to. We also have people who inspire us. And that's important. I shared something on my Instagram page yesterday that anybody who is not a good follower cannot be a good leader.
Indeed.
If you don't have people who inspire you, who challenge you, who motivate you to be the best you can ever be, you can't have anything. If you don't, you can't give what you don't have. You are going to give out of the abundance of what you have gained. And guess what? All of us, we have somebody we're looking up to. Our mothers had their own mothers, right? Who are now our grandmothers, right? Our own CEOs, for CEOs in organization, they have the boards, that they look up to. They have the advisory board, or board of directors. So somehow life has been configured such that at every level you have somebody that you look up to. And aside from that, because that's external, there is also the internal part, right? There's the internal work that everybody must do, you must know where your limits are. And
Mm,
having conversations with yourself is powerful. And being able to put whatever you're going through in words first to yourself. I tell people, whatever you're going through, before you open your mouth to tell any other human being about it, talk it with yourself. Hear it second time. Aside from the thoughts in your mind, speak it to yourself first and see your own reaction to whatever the situation is. So leaders or people who occupy leadership positions must identify what charges them up. It could be a podcast, listening to podcasts. It could be reading a book. It could be listening to a sermon or listening to an inspirational speaker who says things that anytime you listen to it, you just feel charged up. You get, you are encouraged, you're motivated. So identifying that inspiration spot is important. In fact, not just for leaders, for every human being. You need to know what's your inspiration spot. Who are those people that when they speak, you listen to them? Oh my, you're fired up. You want to start running. Identify them and create a tabernacle there. Who are those that when you read their books, you are charged up? Identify them and then ensure that you feed yourself with those things. Keep exposing yourself to those opportunities, those learnings, those knowledge spots that gets you charged up and inspires you. And very importantly, also, it's good to have accountability groups. It's good to have people or a community. You are in the same sphere, you're going through, you have the same, maybe in the same industry or the same group of, there are quite a number of them in recent times. And even many organizations are coming up with such community groups, right? Where we are exposed to the same struggles, and we can all encourage ourselves, such that when I need something, I need help with something, it's just to reach out to somebody in the group that I feel comfortable with, to say, oh, in fact, at times, people have reached out to me to say, I'm so down, I feel overwhelmed. And what do? I just take my phone and I call them up. Oh, babe, what's up? How you doing? It's, of course, it's whatever anybody can do. And at times I've done the same thing. I've been over and I look for somebody to talk to. So just say, sometimes I just feel like taking a walk. And that's a honest confession. That times you feel like that, you know. And another important part of a good leader is to identify those times. Because if you don't identify it, you will keep throwing up emotions. You will keep, in fact, the baggage of your emotions will impact people around you, will impact your family members, will impact the people who work with you. They will know that something is wrong with the boss, right? But it's important you tackle it, you face it as, oh, I don't feel great today. So the next question is, what do I need to do to feel great? Do I need to just meditate and fill myself up, with some level of inspiration? Do I need to take a walk? Do I need to talk to someone? Do I need to phone a friend? Do I need a lifeline? It's important to identify that point where I need this, I don't have this. I will do better if I can have this from someone, where that emotional energy needs to be pumped up. It's important to identify that spot. And those are ways, and for people who have whatever religion they're practicing, it's also a time to talk to whatever you believe in, whatever God you believe in, honestly, because sometimes you need the external force to move you up. You need the external force to be encouraged, to stay focused and to stay motivated. Whatever that sort of inspiration is, get it and stay there.
Yeah. Little wonder emotional intelligence is such a huge part of what people are on the lookout for these days, especially in leaders. And I can only imagine somebody there saying, well, for the people, the ones who are under us, we have to do these things for them. But for us, we have to do it for ourselves. Well, with, how do they say it? Uneasy lies it rears is their head that wears the crown or something like that. And with more something comes more responsibility and the likes. So yeah, you have to do it. That's why you're the leader. That's why you're the one at the forefront. And I guess that's why you're paid more. So you have to do all of this. So, but we hope that this gives you some sort of clarity as you go on in making these vital decisions. If you're joining us for the first time, we are talking about leadership in the workplace and examining the topic from different angles. If you have any contributions or questions, the WhatsApp line is open. We'll take a breather, and when we come back, I'd like us to talk about the costs of bad leadership in the workplace. I know there was a time that there was that conversation online about toxic workplace and the like. So what's the cost of bad leadership in the workplace? We'll get to answer that right after this. You're listening to Office Journal on Smooth 98.1. 8.1. Keep listening. So it's just a short break, and then we come back. We talk about, let me examine this. Spice up your day with some so the cost of bad leadership in the workplace, as well as some things that managers who are not aware that they are supposed to be leaders, some things that they do that are counterproductive, that
Hmm.
ends up doing opposite of what it is that they want to achieve. So
Hmm.
we talk about as well. And right now, if somebody hears this and they want to make up their mind to be a better leader, what are some of the things they can do that can help them to start becoming a better leader?
Okay. First of all, we all know, we all have that man in the room or that woman in the room that we know as
Okay, so we're coming back on now.
okay, 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 okay. I
Yeah.
thought
No,
I'm
we're not
already.
back on that. It was
Oh,
just an,
okay,
an ad break. Yeah. So we're back.
okay, okay, okay. All right.
Should love music and love life. You are listening to Smooth 98.1, 37 minutes past 11 o'clock. It's a Tuesday. A lovely one at that because the weather is beautiful. I promise you, I'm not British, but I talk about the weather as well, especially when the sun is not out and I don't have to lather up on some sunscreen. But it's been wonderful here talking about leadership in the workplace on Office Journal. And my guest has been an HR and business consultant, as well as a managing consultant at iSenseVille Consult. She is Mrs. Olubamike Fadipe. We are talking about now how bad leadership affects and impacts the workplace. So, what would you say are the costs of bad leadership?
Hmm. Okay, let me start by sharing this quote that people don't leave the structure of an organization. They don't leave a building. They leave people. When people leave organizations, more often than not, they are leaving, if you trace it, aside from financial reasons, they are leaving someone, they are leaving because of someone, they are leaving because of something that somebody didn't do or could have done differently. And when we talk about toxicity, there was a time it was really trending online. And I think that got to the point when a lot of people have had different experiences and they just needed opportunities to vent, to the world. And all thanks to Twitter, right? Twitter did that for us, right? And I will say that some level of sociocultural dynamics could have contributed to this toxicity, right? And right, every generation has its threshold. Many years before now, the people we had in the workplace, they had bosses who were overbearing, who were very demanding and commanding. And those generation, they took it in. They took it like, when my boss is speaking, I must not speak. You know, they saw leadership. The definition of leadership at that time, it was defined in a different way. But then as socialization happened, globalization and technology, we're all becoming woke. And suddenly we realize that no, leadership must be more fun, right? Which is desirable. Leadership must be more open. Then there is this, all of a sudden, the concept of leadership just broke the internet, it broke the space. And everybody is reading about leadership. Everybody talks about leaders. Everybody just has expectations of these leaders like they're made of machine and they are not human beings. We all just have this concept. Now, what am I saying? And why am I saying this in the context of toxic leadership? Many people are not evolving. Many people in positions of power, they are not evolving. They failed to become adaptable. They failed to embrace the concept of emotional intelligence, which takes you out of yourself to focus on other people. Because oftentimes that's what's lacking. You hear people say, I don't care how you get it done, just get it done. I mean, that's one of the examples given or shared online in those days, and many examples that, in fact, when you hear it, you will shudder, because you'll be wondering, Are these people human beings? Yes, they are human beings. People have their baggages too, including leaders, right? Is there a is there a huge loss to the organization when we have toxic people? Yes, we do. Yes, there is. There is a huge loss because such organization will keep losing good people. Such organization will keep recycling the toxicity such that everybody that comes in thereafter, the people who have been dealt the blow of toxicity will pass it on to other people around them and to people below them. So at the end of the day, when toxicity is from the top, it keeps going from one level to another level. And guess what? There are organizations who such reputation will be passed even to their customers. Because guess what? If you don't treat me right as a staff, I'm going to be so weighed down that the emotional energy I'm going to give anybody I relate with. Now, that anybody could be my colleagues, could be the customers that I'm called to serve. I'm going to give them the same pill that I have received. And I will not realize I'm doing anything bad. I will just feel, that's the way, it's the way boss talks to people, talks to the staff, that the staff will talk to the customers or the people they're supposed to serve. Is that tone and that DNA, even people who work in such an environment will be impacted because you won't realize that you're being re-engineered. You won't realize that subconsciously, because we're all humans of the things, we're all products of the things we see and the things we experience. And the more you are exposed in that kind of environment, come to think of it, you spend 8 hours of your life, 1/3 of life in an organization and exposed to a particular energy. Man, you're going to take it in and you will give it back. And the people who will benefit from that level of energy, your family, the people who work with you, the people who relate with you, they will just know that you are on another level. Toxicity will make customers to be mistreated. And so there will be loss of customers. And when we have loss of customers, there will be loss of revenue. When we have loss of revenue, eventually there will be loss of reputation. Because at the end of the day, everybody will know the organization that is toxic. We recruit for organizations, we recruit for, different organizations across different industry. And we've had comments about organizations that we want to interview, that we're interviewing candidates. And we're hearing, no, that place, no, if it's that organization, I don't want to have anything to do with them. That's a reputation. Oh, they are toxic. And guess what? The global space has become so open. Everybody can access any information about anybody. Go to people's Facebook, go to organizations' Google reviews, go to Glassdoors, and you will find comments. You will find comments that will make you cringe because the human beings who have experienced, who have taken this pill, who left, now feel free to write about those organizations. While they were there, they may not feel free. But once they exit, they feel free to say anything. And guess what? As they're saying it, the brand of the organization is being formed. That reputation becomes consistent. If I've left an organization and somebody, calls me up to ask, oh, I got an invite for an interview in that organization. What do you think? Whatever I say will form that person's opinion, even though that person has not experienced it. And so that's how the noise about toxicity, that's how it kept being recycled, where it's like a 360-degree impact that it has on the people who, the producer of the toxicity and the people receiving it. So it's impacting everybody. It's impacting the 360 thing. It's impacting everybody.
Well, I hope people don't have to find out in the hard way and they take heed based on this information. Thank you for sharing that. Now, moving on, and I guess this will be the second to the last question. So I'd like you to mention some of those things that people, managers who are aspiring to be leaders now, some things that they do that can actually be counterproductive, that might be getting them opposite of what it is that they want to achieve.
Okay, talking about emerging leaders, that's
Yep.
actually an area that I'm passionate about, right? I'm even currently running a program on that, for this category of people because I've related with a lot of CEOs. I'm in rooms where CEOs share their struggles, they share their expectations, they also share their own weaknesses, their own failures, right? And I'm able to filter, okay, in the midst of all this, right, there are still things that are right and there are things that are not right. So I'll start by saying this, that everyone who wants to go far in life, first of all, when you experience toxicity, first of all, you need to heal from that level of toxicity. Now, I'm starting with the people who have experienced toxic or, unfavorable leadership, right? You need to heal from that level of toxicity that you have been exposed to. You need to do self cleansing, or if need be, because there are some levels where you need to, go to therapy. Yes, and that's the truth, right? And after you've done that, ask yourself, what does a good leader look like to me? What are the things I would have loved my supervisor to have done?
Hmm.
Now, don't trust yourself so much. Don't just think them. Write them down. Write those things down. One after the other, list them. I would have loved my supervisor to have been this. I would have loved my supervisor to have done this. I would have loved my supervisor to have done this. And then put your name in that same thing you've written. That, okay, I am going to be this, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be kind, I'm going to be empathetic, I'm going to care deeply for my team. Put all those things. And then if you believe in affirmation, do it. It works, right? And if you don't, it's fine, right? But what is important is that you are able to rescript a narrative of the leadership that you believe in, that you desired. And guess what? Anything that you focus on will grow. So you
Hmm.
will need to forgive that toxic leader and move on. And don't relive whatever experience you have. Because if you keep reliving, oh, they did this, just move on and move on into a positive outlook, into a positive energy of, I'm going to be this to people who work with me. I'm going to do this to people. I'm going to be kind. I'm going to be considerate and begin on that journey of intentionality and conscious effort, because it takes that conscious effort to be able to walk on that path. And now, coming to every other person, what should you do as you evolve, as you walk on this journey towards becoming relevant in an organization, towards being able to contribute my quota at a higher level, higher than where I currently am? First of all, you must understand what the organization you're in stand for, what they're doing, the business, the terminologies of the business, what's important to the business, what does results mean to this business? Because it's not just about having a position, it's about you having a personal, a targeted contribution towards the growth of this organization. Because it is when you begin to produce and reproduce and you're performing anybody's mind to say, oh, let's consider this person for this position. Okay,
Hmm.
can we? This person has been doing well. I've been watching her. And that's how, see, when promotion interviews are being done or when promotions conversations are being done, I mean, these are the conversations. Oh, she has been doing well. She did this. This was a result. Oh, she increased so by so percentage. And then the focus on the soft skill, which takes more space, comes up. She's not respectful. She's not, our colleagues are always complaining about her. All the other things, oh, is this, is that, is brash. It talks to people anyhow. Oh, his communication skills, faulty. He doesn't have tact. He does not know how to manage himself. He does not know how to manage his emotions. And all the negative things about that individual begins to come to the fore. All the negative things that even the person may not be aware of. So it's important that an individual who wants to become a leader, who would have started from the point of self-discovery and self-awareness, is also consistently asking others for feedback. I tell people the strategic thing to do when you want to be relevant in an organization, walk up to your boss. Sir, I've been meaning, I want to, or I have this project that we're currently working on. I really want to make an impact on it. Is there a feedback you have for me on how I can do this differently, on how I can improve on my, activities or my task? And guess what? You're going to have somebody thinking, oh, you're thinking about the business, you're thinking about performing. Oh, the two connect very well. When you're thinking about the growth of the business and you're thinking of what you can deliver on, it's a good combination, and it puts you in a favorable position. I'm not saying that's the only thing that will make you a leader. That's not it. It's more than that, because there's a lot of mind work that also must be done. The mindset. How do you see yourself? Who do you see yourself? Because to become a leader, you need a level of confidence. You need a level of hard work. You need a level of tact. How you have, in fact, I've realized in my interaction, I know time is running. In my interaction with a lot of supervisors holding roles, I realized that conversation is many times communication is the deal breaker, because I tell people it's not about what you have done or the results you have. It's a function of how do you communicate the results you have? How do you convince me that what you've done, is so great and is good and is huge and it has taken the organization from this level to the other level? How do you manage data about yourself? Do you have a brag sheet? How do you tell people, in my last performance, from my last performance to now, I had a 15% increase? Being able to communicate with data is so important. And it means that you are keeping data. It means that, what is my own data as a CEO of a consulting company? My data is the number of clients, number of organizations that we work with. I track it. How many new companies do we have this month? How many new recruitments do we have? Because I have my own KPIs. And it's important, apart from the KPIs that your managers would have given you, it's important to have your personal one, so you can track your own progress, you can track your success rate, and you can track your results. Because it is when you begin to then converse, with your results, with the report you have, your report card, it makes it easy for anybody to listen to you. And I also like I always like to put this clause. I'm not saying share your report card arrogantly. That's not the idea. Yes, because a lot of people miss it there, where you want everybody to know what you've been doing. You want everybody to know the results you've been having. And so you talk everybody down. You talk, I know I'm the best in this organization. In fact, what I do, nobody can come. No, you've lost it, because that's not the goal. The goal is for you to be able to communicate your impact and your relevance to the organization without being arrogant about it and without looking down on anybody. And above all, it's important to keep sharpening that emotional intelligence skills, so that you learn to converse with your boss, the tone you should use, the kind of words, what does your boss like to hear? What are the key words that when you say it to your boss, he's here, you want to ask him for a pay raise, but you're not telling him about what you've done and how you've done and how you believe, in fact, I'm working on this project. However, sir, I will appreciate if, don't just come and say, I demand a pay raise. I mean, I'm lost. But if you start the conversation with, sir, it's like a sandwich. I've been able to do this so far. I've had this. I've had this level of success, and I'm also working on this project that I believe will give me this level of success. And so in the light of that, I know I'm doing a lot, and I will keep pushing and giving my best. You're giving that assurance also. And then you now quietly ask, I would like to have a pay raise. That point, of course, except if the boss is wicked or he does not have the means. Because it's a function of willing and able, because the two must go together, right? So it's an all-encompassing journey for an emerging leader. They must be intentional about their journey. In fact, I tell people, track your journey, document it, right? From how you're starting, the results you're having, the battles you are overcoming, the challenges that you're overcoming. Embrace opportunities to grow in the organization. When they give you an extra task, don't ask for extra pay just at that instance. Embrace those extra work that you're given to do. See an opportunity in the organization, oh, that looks like a job, that looks like a different house, totally different from what you're doing. Embrace it, take it up, especially for projects that you have skills, you're skilled in it, you can deliver. Pick it up and do your bit. At the end of the day, people will realize. In fact, it won't just be your boss realizing that your presence in this organization is for growth, and that you are relevant to not just the present state of the organization, but the future of the organization. And why would I consider anybody for leadership? It's because I'm seeing the person in the future of the organization. That's the major consideration. I'm seeing what the person can deliver. I'm seeing what the person can do. I'm seeing how the person can impact others, can influence others, and can manage them effectively so that they become better persons. I want somebody who can clone himself in others. When I want to consider somebody for a leadership role, I look at the person. Okay, if this person reproduces himself or herself in another person, will it benefit the organization? And I go for that, right? So
Well, according to my value tracker, the value gotten out of this today's session is unquantifiable because it's totally shattered. If this were to be a speedometer, this is more like 300 meters. We've through the roof. We have totally destroyed everything because it is awesome. Thank you
thank
for
you.
the
Thank you.
explanation
Thank you
as
very
well
much.
as the practical solutions, the beat by beat information that you've given to someone who now wants to repent and be a good
Mm,
leader, be a better leader. Thank you so
yeah,
much. I'll take
thank
one
you.
message and then we wrap this up. On WhatsApp, I don't know your name, but the name here is Abiera. I hope it's right. He said, a lot of leaders need sensitivity and positive communication training. Personal
Yeah.
feelings and emotions have no place in professional settings. Indeed,
Mm.
you get it together and understand what is at stake. And yeah, thank you, really. And we have to wrap it up now and look forward to another session with you where the value just keeps gushing from different sides. And we can go on, but time says no. So for people to
Yeah.
find out more about what it is that you're doing and how to be better
Mm.
leaders, how can they find you on socials?
Yeah, absolutely.
Your social media handles?
My social media handle, that's Banki Soya. That's the personal. And the organization is iSenseville Consult, just the full name of the organization. Banki Soya. And on LinkedIn, just my name, Oluwaseun Fadipe.
And that's it. You can find that everywhere and get to cope
Thank you.
some techniques to be a better leader in the workplace and maybe to customize it to yourself as well. That will be very helpful. Okay,
Mm.
we're done for today. Next week we'll go again on Office Journal from 11 till 11:50 right here on Smooth 98.1. In some seconds, we will be having a pot full of African music because that's what we do on the Casbah every weekday from 12 p.m. till 4 p.m. You can find the repeat on YouTube, and that will be at Smooth 91 FM Lagos on YouTube at Smooth 91 FM Lagos. My name
Mm.
is Oluwaseun Olusegun, and bye for now.
Yeah, bye for now.
Thank you very much. I had a swell time.
Thank you. Thank
So
you
I look
so
forward
much.
to another session with you
Yeah, it will be a
one of these
pleasure.
days again.
It will be a pleasure. I had a swell time too. Thank
Thank you. So I'll share the
you.
link with you in case you want to have the recording or you want to have
Okay,
some cuts of it. So I'll just share the link to the YouTube
all
with
right.
you.
Thank you so much. Yeah,
Yes,
bye.
ma'am.
Enjoy
Have a
the
lovely
rest of
one.
the day. Yeah, bye for now. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.